Welcome to the Nathan Nephew Show. Of course, I am Nathan Nephew, and you are listening to Red State Talk Radio, I imagine. Otherwise, you're on nathannephew.com. Two places where it's easiest to find the show. Once again, I have to give you a warning. I've been trying to avoid this every week, and I've done good for the most part, but the last 2 weeks, I just haven't been able to come through for you. I know I get many, many requests, especially after last week's episode. I got tons of emails telling me that I needed to make some changes to my show, and I tried really hard, but once again, Brian is in the studio with me. You know Brian from At Odds, adoddshow.com, facebook.com/adoddshow.
Hi, y'all. I will tell you what your problem is, and that is the security code that you have. 1234 is not a good password.
Well, after you guessed it before when it was 1111, I thought I should change it.
Yeah. And you did well. 1234 is pretty good.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to turn the shock feature back on.
Change it to your birth date.
Yeah, nobody knows my birth date.
Everybody
It's
does.
not like a national holiday or anything, Brian.
It should be.
Yeah, it is. Patriot Day, turns out, is my birthday.
Is it really?
Not the best of holidays to have your birthday on.
Why not?
Especially that one year. It's kind of bad. Kind of put a damper on my birthday, but I mean, I don't know. What are you going to do?
Nothing.
I would do nothing. No, this is the Nathan Nephew Show.
I'm just in the background here. I'm watching you work your magic.
Yeah, and it is magic. It turns out it is magic. I'll mention this since we mentioned it on Ad Odds. We're running a contest for Ad Odds. Head over, like the Facebook page, facebook.com/adoddshow. If you like it, within the next 2 weeks, we'll put your name in a hat or some container twice. All of you who already like the Ad Odds Show Facebook page, you get one entry in the contest. We'll pick a name at random in 2 weeks, and we'll give away a free copy of our book, My Parents Open Carry.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do, Brian. I just came up with that off the top of my head.
Free copy of our book?
Free copy of our book, so it's coming out of your stash, too.
You can hardly even keep those in press. I mean, they're just boom, 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 going out.
And we'll sign it for you.
Ooh, see now, I thought you were trying to get people to like us.
Yeah, you can check out the book, myparentsopencarry.com.
You can opt out of the autograph.
Chances of winning are slim. Almost 1 in a million, but not quite.
And check your state's rules and regulations on gambling.
Ooh, void in Rhode Island and California and Chicago.
And everywhere else in the U.S.
That's not true. We really are running the contest.
Yeah.
And just like us on Facebook, and we'll pick a name out of the hat. Our secretary, the administrative assistant, is not going to like this contest because she's going to have to write down all the names because I sure as hell am not doing it.
No, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to the Facebook page, and we're going to copy all of the names of all of our likes. We're going to put it on a Word document. It'll be all printed out, and those that are new, we'll do twice. The old one, no one has to write anything. There's a technology now. You can cut and paste and do anything.
I'm going to tell you that
I did open heart surgery with cut and paste last night.
I will probably just pick the winner
because we like the sound of the name.
No, not through an actual hat or anything physical. I'll probably just do it on a computer, and it'll be fairly random. Nothing's random.
Aren't you a computer engineer?
Yeah, it was kind of my point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we'll make it work. It'll be fair. I promise.
And keep in mind, if you send emails to Brian with a cash or check or money order, maybe your chances will be a little bit better of winning than other people. I'm just saying.
Well, and if I can raise $50 in the next 3 weeks, I will fire Brian from Ad Odds and promise to never have him on this show, the Nathan Nephew Show, again.
You're going to have 1,000.
So $50. You're
going to have 1,000 likes.
That's all it takes. Hey, so have you seen the Rolling Stone cover with this Joker Nast? One of the Boston Bombers, the one that lived.
I'm familiar with the song. Was it Dr. Hook? Who did?
So Rolling Stone magazine
on the cover of the Rolling Stone.
I don't know if it's been published yet or not, but on the cover they had one of the Boston Bombers suspects,
the younger.
Brother. And, of course, they had a glamorous photo of him looking like a rock star.
A rock star.
And as we know, lots of young women in this country are starting to idolize him. There's Twitter campaigns. There's people protesting with signs saying, free Jahar. He needs to be free because
he's
his
so dreamy.
Jahar.
He's so dreamy.
And what he did is murdered a 5 or 8 year old boy and other people and injured so many people just trying to
life-altering injuries.
Yeah, limbs lost. Yep. This guy is not glamorous. He is not a rock star. He is not something that we should hold up on this rag that they call a magazine, Rolling Stone magazine, which, by the way, I've never liked this magazine. It's always been liberal. They try to hide it saying, we're about fashion, music and things, and let's have these
sort of like a
articles
stoner's GQ.
Let's see how many articles we can write about Barack Obama and how great he is. And get into politics, but not pretend like we're not in politics, but we're as liberal as they come. I must have accidentally signed the wrong line or checked a box somewhere. I forgot to uncheck a box. I had a subscription to Rolling Stone. I never gave them a penny because I wouldn't subscribe to it because I don't like the magazine, even though I'm into music.
That's because your connection for your marijuana signed you up.
And that's why I found a new connection. That's not true. I don't have any connections.
Your connection now is
That's a good one.
I'll be back with you.
I don't know why I got this magazine. I could not stop. They wouldn't stop sending it from me, and I think it's because they're so desperate.
Wall Street Journal. Your new pusher is much more conservative.
Hilarious, but I'm telling you, folks, $50. I will never have him on the show again. That's all I'm saying. You got 2 or 3 weeks. Give me $50.
I'll kick in 25.
$25. I'll never have him on the show again. So that's all it's going to take.
I'm easy.
That's for sure.
All right, let's get to the nitty-gritty.
This is disgraceful that an American magazine, the Rolling Stone, something that's been around as long as they have, is going to put a picture of the Boston bombing suspect on there, make it glamorous, and call him a monster, of course. This whole article is about where he went wrong. How he was a young boy, he had such a promising future, he was doing well in school, he was smart, he was great, and then he killed a bunch of people. So what made him that happen? Why did he decide to become radicalized? The point is, are they going to put a picture of the 5-year-old boy that he killed? Are they going to put a picture of all the injuries he caused? I mean, what is this? Luckily, Walmart, I think, CVS, Walgreens, a couple other chains are not going to sell this book. And I'm not really for boycotts for the most part, and I'm not for censorship at all. But this isn't censorship. This is companies saying, this is really un-American to do something like this, to make it, to glamorize him like this, especially when we have so many young people that look at the picture of him and say, oh, he's dreamy. Look at that hair. Look how cute he is. I don't care that he killed people. He must be innocent because he looks good because hot people don't murder. That's just how it goes. I mean, that's why Zimmerman got off. It's got to be. Right? Because we got the verdict back from the Zimmerman trial this last week over the weekend. Saturday, actually. Who knew jurors worked on Saturdays? I didn't know that. That kind of stinks, but I guess the state doesn't really want to pay overtime, so they make him work on Saturdays. Not guilty. Zimmerman was found not guilty, acquitted of all charges. And predictably, we have the race baiters, the people who run the race industry, who make a living on racial divisiveness. Eric Holder, let's see, Reverend L. Sharpton, Reverend Jesse Jackson, running around the country talking about how we need to look at the racial divide, and if Trayvon Martin was white. In fact, Trayvon's parents did an interview. They came out fairly soon after the trial. I thought they would wait a little longer, but they came out the other day. They did an interview, and Trayvon's dad, Tracy, was his dad. That confused me through the whole thing, but when you don't see pictures of him and they say Tracy Zimmerman, I was like, I don't know, maybe he has 2 moms, I don't know. But
jeez.
Trayvon's dad came out and said, if Trayvon was white, I don't think we'd be here today. Well, first of all, no crap. because this wouldn't have been made into a huge racial issue, and it wouldn't be in the news like it is. And we would have had the trial. We would have had this. No, we wouldn't have had the trial.
Probably not.
Come to think of it, when the local police department said, "Yep, nothing to see
and
here,"
the local prosecutors,
self-defense.
Remember, the local prosecutors were in on this. It was the state that came in and prosecuted it.
Yeah, and decided to forego a grand jury, which they don't have to have a grand jury. But usually in a murder case like this, self-defense type thing, they would have a grand jury make a decision on whether there was enough evidence to prosecute. I don't think a grand jury would have found that there was enough evidence at all, because there wasn't. I mean, the prosecution in the case did nothing to prove that George Zimmerman did not act in self-defense.
They had a lot of assumptions, and, what if this happened? What if that happened? This might have happened. They didn't have any evidence.
No, and when the case started, of course it was brought because of it turned into a racial issue.
Pressure from
political pressure, public opposition to no charges, things like that. The prosecution started going down the race trail, and then they decided that wasn't working, that we cannot prosecute him on race. So they moved away from that argument. They didn't mention much of anything about race for the rest of the trial. And then afterwards, the lead prosecutor, who was not active in the trial, in the courtroom, she does the press conference right after the verdict, and jumps right back to the race issue.
She wasn't the lead prosecutor per se. She was a state attorney, like in charge of other lower state.
Okay,
attorneys.
She might not have been the lead prosecutor.
Yeah.
She was
the one that
lead.
brought.
So she comes out and says, well, this is a huge racial issue. We're so disappointed in this. This was the wrong verdict. The jury did wrong. We did good with our evidence. We didn't withhold any evidence, which, by the way, the state withheld evidence and did not turn over all of the exculpatory evidence that they were supposed to.
They're going to be burnt for that, I think.
But when a prosecutor loses, they usually come out and say, we're disappointed. We did what we could.
But the jury
made the decision. That is how the justice system works in this country. Yeah. They made the decision. We're not happy with it, but it's the decision.
And you made a point earlier when we were talking off air about they didn't vote him or decide that he was innocent. They just decided he was not guilty based on the evidence.
There's a distinction between not guilty and innocent.
Right. Juries don't decide if you're innocent.
No, and they don't have to.
Right.
And like I've said before, I think the verdict was 100% correct.
Based on
Absolutely
what I saw
correct.
in the trial. Yeah.
And even one of the alternate jurors who has to be in the courtroom gave an interview and said, he wishes he could have been on the main jury. Yeah. I don't know why. But he completely agreed with the verdict too. So I'm glad that they came to the right decision. I was worried that there was a lot of public pressure and that we weren't going to get the Zimmerman wasn't going to get the right verdict, and it still is having an impact on gun rights. I'll talk about that a bit when I come back and Stand Your Ground, which wasn't really at play in this case, but we've been fed lies by the media.
Yeah, he used English common law self-defense.
Yep. NathanNephew.com. Of course, that's Brian here. You can listen to him with me if you want.
Disregard what I say.
.com.
When it comes to TV, if you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best value in entertainment. Not only will you find the same channels you know and love for less, Dish sweetens the deal with free HD for life and premium movie channels free for 3 months, including Blockbuster at home. You can also save a bundle when you combine DishNet high-speed internet with your TV service. Why would you ever pay more for TV? Switch to Dish and see what real value is. Free HD for life life, premium channels free for 3 months, scores of movies with Blockbuster at home, premium savings when you bundle DishNet high-speed internet service. Limited time offer, 24-month agreement with credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. Call for details.
Call Dish Satellite, your Dish authorized retailer now. 800-507-9468. 800-507-9468. 800-507-9468. That's 800-507-9468.
Red State Talk Radio is All American Talk Radio.
The Nathan Nephew Show. Somewhat unique.
Somewhat unique?
Yes, somewhat unique.
All right, welcome back to the Nathan Nephew Show. I am Nathan Nephew. Fair warning, Brian's still here. Tried to kick him out during the break, but just didn't have enough time.
Yo.
Of course, I'm happy with the Zimmerman verdict. Just for what it says about the nation and the justice system, how they can get the right, make the right decision with all the pressure they had, and with the fear. I mean, these jurors have been,
you could imagine what
they've been kept
through.
Secret,
Yeah.
And I think they might have extended that for 6 months. They don't have to reveal their identities. You've seen interviews with a couple of them; they're blacked out. We know their age ranges and ethnicity to a point, but we don't really know who they are. Eventually, we will, and I think that they're going to have to worry about it. Maybe not as much as George Zimmerman is, because like the new Black Panther Party put a bounty on Zimmerman's head now. They're offering money for somebody that kills George Zimmerman.
Isn't that like hiring an assassin?
It's illegal, but do you think Eric Holder's going to say anything? Absolutely not, because did he say anything?
He's the highest law enforcement officer in the country.
What did he say when the Black Panthers were protesting or were outside of polling places, armed, threatening people?
He said that's wrong.
He said, yeah, we're not prosecuting black suspects
so much.
So much so, yeah, no.
Now, if these had been white people doing this, we'd have been right on it.
Now, do you think George Zimmerman's getting his gun back? I don't know, because now we hear, just today, that the Justice Department wants the state of Florida to hold on to all evidence from this case, disarming Zimmerman, not giving him his gun back. I hope he has another gun.
Well, the issue I have is the federal government telling the state what to do. I think the state should say, we're giving his gun back. If you want his gun, then you issue a warrant and you go and get it.
Yeah. Well, Eric Holder spoke to the NAACP and, of course, brought up Stand Your Ground and how it's bad, and brought up the point that he has to have a conversation with his son. He's got a young son. And, has to tell him that this world isn't fair, and the world we live in it isn't right, and there's no justice for people like us. Him being black, because of course this country's never been fair, and it never will be fair to blacks. We just can't get past it, because, I can't remember who she was now, but the Congress lady who said growing up as a slave, she knows what it's like. Oh. Or as a freed slave. Well, not quite.
Yeah.
Not quite. You weren't really a freed slave, because probably not in this country anyway. I don't think you were a slave. So you're taking the wrong spin on the argument here a little bit. As far as Stand Your Ground, we have musicians and celebrities and people coming out against Stand Your Ground, which had no bearing on the Zimmerman case at all, because he wasn't standing his ground. He was being beat and used self-defense. He didn't need a Stand Your Ground law to be justified. In fact,
English common law.
What he did, other than having the firearm, was probably legal in all 50 states, defending himself. Yep. Even in Chicago and New York,
Not in DC,
not with the
probably.
gun.
Not in DC.
DC, you can't defend yourself.
You wouldn't have a gun.
Not.
You couldn't have a gun.
Not. Well,
in Chicago.
We had the woman at the pro Trayvon Martin rally a while ago that said self-defense just isn't an option. That they'll just kill her. She's not going to defend herself. It's not an option.
That's the choice you have. But wouldn't it be nice to have
your choice? And that's my choice.
Right.
That's not the choice of Eric Holder to make.
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder said he's going to boycott Florida and all states that have stand your ground laws.
Did he do Ebony and Ivory?
I don't think he did. But do you remember when Stevie
Oh,
Wonder
no, that
said...
was... I'm sorry, you're right.
It wasn't him.
It was
do you remember,
Paul McCartney.
Do you remember
and,
Stevie Wonder when
Michael
he said...
Jackson? I don't know.
Because he's blind. Stevie Wonder is blind. Or I think he's faking, but he's blind.
So he
said,
really can't see this issue.
No. He's like Lady Justice.
He's blind.
He's blind. Except he's not, because Stand Your Ground just allows people to murder black kids. That's all it does.
Well, I like the fact that he's going to stand with his belief and boycott all the states that have Stand Your Ground. He's not going to play there.
You think so? So there's like 30
That's what
of
he
them?
said.
There's like 30 of them. And no, come on.
It's more than that, I think. 38 or something.
His career is waning. It's going downhill. So, I mean, he probably can't get gigs in those places, so he's using this as an excuse. Because who wants to go see Stevie Wonder other than me? Well, I don't anymore, but I did. But do you remember the clip we had of him on At Odds a while back saying, imagine me
having a gun.
owning a gun. Well,
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah.
I can imagine it. Why not? Yeah. If you're not pointing it at people and shooting them, I don't care if you're blind and you own a gun, because that was his point. He's blind.
Yeah.
So, because he was going to buy
blind.
a gun.
When did that happen?
Tuesday.
Oh.
He was going to buy a gun to prove that
a blind person could buy a gun.
Uh-huh.
Well, of course they can.
Who said they can't?
Yeah, nobody. He can buy a car, too.
It turns out he can buy a car.
Yeah, I mean, he can buy an airplane.
An airplane? Yeah. Helicopter? Anything like that.
Blowgun. I think he could have a blowgun.
Piano?
No, he can't buy a piano. He's blind.
Bruce Springsteen, also, he has this...
I hadn't heard this, but...
Yeah, he has a song basically about somebody that got shot or whatever, and he was overseas.
He has a lot of songs about people that got shot. If you ever listen to his album Nebraska,
he dedicated.
If you want to kill yourself, listen to Nebraska.
I don't, but he dedicated it back home to Trayvon Martin and the family of Trayvon Martin, and he's obviously on that side. I don't think he's boycotting. I don't think he's going to boycott any of these states for his, because his.
You know why?
His career is still going strong.
He likes money.
Yeah, right. And Stevie Wonder can't see the money, so what does he care?
What does he care?
He doesn't care.
Really, that is a Cadillac. Yeah. We bought you a Cadillac. You're riding a Cadillac.
Bill Maher was on Letterman, and he tried to make some jokes about how he's an owner of the New York Mets or the Knicks. I'm not sure which one of the New York sports teams.
Who is?
Bill Maher.
He owns a team?
Well, yeah, and then he said, well, minority owner. And Letterman said, well, you know, and he said, yeah, I'm a minority owner. That's better than being a minority in Florida.
It was a joke.
Do you know what the reaction was?
Silence.
It was more like, boo. Yeah, and he says, why are they booing?
Yeah,
are they
I don't
me?
get it. Because
yeah, moron.
Out of touch.
Yeah, absolutely out of touch. Because most Americans, I think, understand that this was not a racial issue. And in fact, when we hear Rachel Jeantel talk about that, she was worried that it was a gay raper following Trayvon Martin, that it wasn't a race issue for even Trayvon Martin at all. It may have been a gay issue, and we can have that conversation. I don't know if the liberals want to jump into that one.
Yeah.
Whose side are we on?
Gay haters.
Are we on the side of the gays or the blacks? Because we can't be on everybody's side. Can't be on the side of the American.
What about a gay black person? Ooh.
Definitely can't be on the side of the white Hispanic.
Blew my mind.
I think I just blew through the entire show here talking about the Zimmerman verdict, and I had told you guys before that I was trying very hard to stay out of this discussion because the Zimmerman trial was not meant to be, first of all, a trial at all. Definitely should not have been a huge national issue that was on everybody's television sets every night. But that's what it turned out to be, and I've had a lot more to say about it than I planned on saying about it. But I guess it is what it is. I think you gotta stay relevant, right? Just like Jesse Jackson staying relevant. You gotta stay relevant. The race industry is strong as ever.
And Jesse Jackson's about as irrelevant as, I don't know, dinosaurs.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. So, Edward Snowden, he applied for asylum in Russia. I don't know if you saw the letter, but it was a handwritten note. It was pretty cool because he said, "This is my application for asylum, please." Lindsey Graham, along with all of the other really cool Republicans that we love, want to once again boycott the Olympics that are going to be held in Russia, I think in 2016, 2014, something like that. I'm not sure. He wants to boycott the Olympics if Russia grants asylum to Edward Snowden. Now, if you remember, I don't know if you remember back this far, but you were probably in your 50s then, but in the 80s, we boycotted the Olympics in Russia because, well, we were kind of enemies with Russia. It's a bit different now, but not really. It's perceived to be different now, but I think Russia still is not a very good friend of the United States of America. But I don't know that I'll be surprised if Putin does grant asylum to Snowden, if he hasn't already, and I just haven't heard about it. But I think this is just crazy that we have somebody in Edward Snowden who seemingly just wants to get the information out and let people know what the hell the federal government's doing to them every day of their lives, what information they're collecting, and what they're using it for. And we have Republicans sitting in office trying to boycott the Olympics in a country that might help somebody that is really just trying to disseminate information to the American people. Disseminate information about the most transparent administration in history.
No, that's not true.
Well, that's what I've been told. That's what Jay Carney said. I thought.
No, that's not true.
I thought that was true. But I think I'm out of time. Holy cow. NathanNephewShow.com. Look me up on Facebook. And don't forget to like the At Odds Facebook page for a chance to win a copy of My Parents Open Carry. That's Facebook.com/AtOddsShow.
Thanks for having me, Nate. You didn't throat punch me, and that's always good.
I'm going to wait until we're off the air, and then I will.
Yeah.
All right. See you next week.
I'm going to cover up my throat here.